you must have rules for yourself, rules that you know that you wouldn't break no matter what. Because without rules, without being disciplined, without having a set of principles, then you're bound to fail. When you give a person too much freedom, then they'll self-destruct, they'll explode. It's pretty much the same way of like raising a child and then spoiling them, giving them everything that they desire. If they say they want sweets, they want this, you give them everything. In doing so, in giving them everything that they want, you're destroying them and you're ruining them, because in the real world, they're not always going to get something that they want. So oftentimes, people that fail in life, in different arenas, in different facets of life, are spoiling themselves, so to say. They give themselves too much freedom, because this idea of freedom is used to keep people weak. Because now, in order to level up, in order to become a best and a better version of yourself, you have to have a set of rules and have a set of things, a set of principles that you wouldn't break. You must have things that you know that you wouldn't do no matter what. With that in mind, there are many rules that successful people set for themselves. There are many things that they decide and they stick to no matter what. They know that, for example, let's say you want to get in great shape, right? You have to set a rule for yourself that every day you're going to exercise for 15 minutes. Come rain, come snow, you're going to show up to the gym and you're going to exercise for 15 minutes or however long that you've determined, right? So that's a rule that you have for yourself, and that rule, you don't have to break it. So in you showing up every day, regardless of the circumstances, you increase the odds of you becoming successful in that one thing. People who are successful in like their academics, people who perform in high levels, they have rules for themselves. They have times that they dedicate to like studying, to like showing up for their work, to like showing up for their books, and then they commit hours every week and every day to like studying, to like understanding their course material, to understanding their work, and then that's how they end up doing better than the people that commit time when it's time for like exams and etc. So in all situations, whether it's sports, whether it's health, whether it's mental health and etc., you have to dedicate time and effort towards improving yourself. That's how you grow. So most people give themselves too much freedom and then they spoil themselves with like pleasures, because when you have a lot of time at your hands, then it's easy for you to lose yourself. It's very important for a person to set long-term goals for themselves too, so that they can give themselves a direction to head towards. Because when you don't know what you are aiming for in life, then it's easy to lose yourself, because there's no goal that you're striving for, there's no end goal that you are working towards every day. So it's easy for you to like say yes to some of the most unnecessary activities on a daily basis. So rules are very important for a man, and rules are also very important for a woman in order to level up in your life. So this is something that I've been struggling with, especially when I was young. Although I was reading books, but I always didn't understand this principle of like discipline. So when people hear the word discipline, or when you mention the word discipline to someone, they always think of like the extreme sense of the word. But discipline is basically you making a decision and then committing to it, and then you consistently showing up in line with your vow or the decision that you make, and proving to yourself that you can actually show up for something that you've decided to do. That is what discipline is all about. The problem that most people have is that their brains don't trust them. You say you want to do something, but you never do it. Let's say you do it for like 2 days, 3 days, and then you quit. You say you want to start a YouTube channel. You do it for, you check videos online on how to start a YouTube channel, 3 videos, you buy all the equipment, but you end up not doing anything. So your brain doesn't trust you, because every time that you make a vow, every time that you make a decision, you end up not committing to that decision. So it's very important for your brain to trust you, to come to a point where your brain can give you control of your life, because most people run their lives on autopilot, right? Their emotions are in charge of their life. Their whole brain doesn't trust them, because now you can either operate out of your subconscious mind or your conscious mind. So most people operate out of their unconscious mind, or like they operate on default. They do things without really thinking about them. For example, your brain might tell you, take out your phone and scroll through it mindlessly. You just take it out without question. Do this, you do it without question. Whereas if someone is more in tune or more aware of what's going on with their thoughts and etc., then it's easy for them to ask themselves, my brain says I must take out my phone, but do I really want to take out my phone in this situation? And then they get to decide, nah, I don't want to take out my phone. Your brain tells you, go see that girl says come over right now. And then your brain has to tell you, you have to come to a point where you decide, I don't want to go because I'm busy with this. But most people don't have that ability to like question the thoughts and the ideas that come to their minds. People fear being bored. It's like boredom can be a gift, right? It's in boredom where the most creative of ideas come in, because now it's in you sitting for like, let's say 15 minutes and doing nothing. Just put your phone away, turn off the TV, turn off everything. Just be in your room or be in your own space or be in a space where you're alone, and then keep quiet and close your eyes and then listen to your body, listen to the environment, and take in everything. Like, observe the thoughts that cross your mind. It's like in that 15 minutes, you will learn more about yourself than you will in a week of like being distracted by music, being distracted by social media apps, being distracted by TV and etc. Because people oftentimes are always keeping themselves busy with like unnecessary things that they don't get to think about their lives, and that's how people end up being stressed, end up being depressed, because they don't know the thoughts that go in and out of their minds. So to a large extent, we think about the same things, right? 70% of the things that you think about in a week are 70% of the things that you're going to think about the next week. If you don't check in with your thoughts, you don't take out your thoughts on like a paper or a journal and etc. etc. But a lot of people are in a phase in their lives where they want to level up, right? And I feel like this is very important, but most people don't know how to start. So the first thing that I would tell you is that the greatest challenge or the greatest friction that you will face is friction that will be coming from you, friction that will be coming from your brain, because now your brain doesn't trust you. So you have to develop some habits. You have to come to a point where you make small decisions, you make small changes, and then you stick with them, because some of the most meaningful activities and habits that can change your lives are the most boring things. Doing the same exercises every day can be boring, but it's in doing those small same things every day that you get to grow. And most people don't want to start small. Most people want to just dive deep into something and thinking that it's gonna stick. So it's not gonna stick, because now your brain doesn't trust you, because oftentimes when you say you want to do something, you will never do something. So how do you come to a point whereby your brain trusts you? So you start with small habits and you stick with them every day. Decide and commit to something. Decide and commit to something. Decide and commit to something. It's in you making those small decisions and committing to them every day that you'll get to grow and become your best version of yourself. So there's this idea of like compound interest. So compound interest works for money, it works for personal development, and it works for each and everything. So you change how you perceive or how you set goals, because now people want instant results. People want to set short-term goals. They want to lose tremendous amounts of weights in like a week, or they want to earn big incomes in like a week. I mean, be realistic in your goal setting, right? Like, have the long term in mind. Think about your future. Like, ask yourself, is the me in 5 years' time going to be thankful of the activities that I do right now? Right? So I always think about it in the sense of like, I'm investing in myself whenever I'm doing something. So how can I invest in myself? How can I make life easier for my future self? Would the me in 50 years time be thankful that I did what I did right now? If I do a lot of work today, then tomorrow it becomes easier for me. Like, tomorrow I'll also do a lot of work. It's like me investing in my future self. I'm investing in my future self. I'm investing in my future self. I have a blog, right? So instead of like writing blogs each and every day, I usually sit down for like a day and then I write a whole big blog of like 3,000 words, 5,000 words, and then chop it up into like 700-worded newsletters, and then post them over and schedule posts over a period of like 2 weeks or so. It's in me doing that over like a space of two days that I've done work for like 2 weeks. So in that 2 weeks, I can focus on like YouTube, I can focus on like editing, and I can focus on like other things. So you can understand that it's in me working in that 2 days that I invest in my future. In the future, I have time to dedicate to developing myself, to like exercising, to like praying, to like everything that helps me to become a better version of myself, to like reading and studying and etc. and etc. Every activity that you want to do, view it in the light of like you're investing in your future self. Just dedicate 15 minutes to your day to like reading, and then another 15 minutes to exercising, another 15 minutes to like meditating. Meditating doesn't have to be complex. Meditating just involves you being aware of your thoughts, just you being in a space whereby you're quiet and then doing nothing. It's in that quietness, in a state of doing nothing, that you'll get a lot of ideas, that you'll be in peace, and then you'll be in tune and in line with yourself. Don't be, because most people are afraid of their own thoughts, and it's like something that I don't get, because how can you change something that you don't know? Because in order to change yourself or change an aspect of yourself, you have to come to know it. You have to know that you are weak in some area before you can come with solutions to like improving those areas. So if you're continuously distracting yourself with like music, or you are continuously chatting with people on social media platforms, or you're mindlessly scrolling through social media platforms, or you're always watching TV and etc, like, how are you gonna grow or develop as an individual? Because you're dedicating zero time to like yourself. So you have to come to a point whereby you dedicate a lot of hours to like yourself. You set rules for yourself, right? So I challenge you right now, like, start small. Start with 15 minutes of meditating for like 2 weeks. The first week you might not see any benefits, but after that you'll start to be aware of the things that you weren't aware of. You'll start to be aware of, like, you start to question yourself, you start to think. Spend a lot of time investing in yourself and less time doing activities that are taking you away from your best self or become the best version of yourself. So that's basically how you come to a point whereby you're improving yourself. Because if you look at all the successful people, they all have rules, they all have habits that they follow religiously. Every day they show up for those things. Like, if you don't respect your time and you don't show up for those things, then there's no growth. So knowledge is like light. In every area that you have knowledge and there's light in that area, you're able to understand that area perfectly.